Now we are starting Act 2 of The Lightning Thief. That Act 2 starts at about Chapter 7. So in order to do this writing, you should have read Chapter 7 all the way to Chapter 21. At about Chapter 21, Act 2 ends. And you have also filled out every page of your journal so far. Filling out your journal means you won't have to re-research to find the page numbers or the chapter numbers. You won't have to remember all the answers because you already wrote them down. All that being done means you're ready to write down your thoughts about the book and your thoughts about the third act using that textual evidence. So you should have this page in your journal filled out completely now. You should know what Percy Jackson's ordinary world was like. And at the end of the book, he's going to have to return to that ordinary world. You have to know how he was called to adventure. You have to know how he refused that call. And how the mentor, helped him get going. Because the mentor is probably going to be the one who helps him get back to the ordinary world. The hero is going to cross the threshold, and it's going to do it at Camp Half-Blood, and then again when he walks into the underworld in Los Angeles. This is very, very important because he has to cross back the same way to go back to the ordinary world. That is the end of the beginning. The writing that we're going to do today is only going to mention those things briefly and generically. The main writing we're doing today is on this page of your journal, Act 2, the entire middle part. The second act is when the hero joins this new realm and becomes transformed by the end of the second act. All this transformation does not happen all at once. The hero's got to get some allies for the journeys. That's Annabeth, that's Grover. That's a host of other minor characters that help him along the way. And then there's like a series of tests or tasks, and each one makes the hero stronger and better. And sometimes those tasks give him physical objects that help him, like flying shoes. Typically, they're going to be 3 tasks. After those 3 tasks, there's a supreme task, and the hero wins and is triumphant and return home. That's the basic structure. So let's make sure this worksheet is complete. In the first part, you should kind of already know who the allies are. Now, where the trials are, that's kind of up to debate. Some people say the first trial is when he decapitated Medusa. But other people think the first trial is when he talked to the Minotaur. And not really talked to. He defeated the Minotaur, right? So it's kind of up to debate what the first trial is, the second trial, and the third trial. You're going to have to do some chatting with some people who read the book to try to figure out what are the 3 trials, what did he gain from each of these trials. So there is going to be some discrepancies in what you write in your own thing, but that's why the textual evidence is so important, because you need to back up what you say with evidence from the book, an exact quote from the book. Now, this section over here is for your notes. Just in case you don't forget anything. Maybe you're going to have a description of Medusa's lair, or maybe something that you were feeling or you were worried about while you were reading, or like a prediction that's going to happen. But like I said, you need to have the page number or the chapter number and the timestamp, something like this. And then when you write your notes, you can say like, his mother was an ally. His father could kind of count as an ally, or something that reminds you of, or something that you're wondering out. But you're not ready to write until this entire page is filled out. But the entire point of filling out this page is so you can push your thinking deeper. I want you to think not about what happened. I know what happened. I want you to think deeply about what those things mean. Or maybe notice a parallel. This is the part that is your brain, your thoughts. And that's why you're going to write them down. So I know your thinking, your connections. I want you to start noticing parallels. Here are some allies from some other hero stories. The allies that exist in Act 2 of every hero's journey always appear in the beginning, and they often stay throughout the entire story. The allies are often strong and clever and outsiders. Do you notice anything else about these allies? I want you to put the things you notice in your written reflection. But that's not all. I want you to notice parallels between the supreme tasks of the other heroes. In Star Wars, the supreme task was to destroy the Death Star. In Lord of the Rings, the supreme task was to destroy a very small thing, a golden ring. And in Harry Potter's hero's journey, the supreme task was to destroy a person. These are the kinds of parallels I want you to write about, things you notice. In that third paragraph, I want you writing about any icons that you could be using to think more deeply, like any of these. I want you to think a little bit about theme, but just dabbling in it. The theme of the story is often described with like one word, like a general idea about life. The theme of Percy Jackson could be anything. It could be how family is in every single chapter, how liars and deceitful people are all in every chapter. Whatever you think the main theme of the book is, just dabble in your writing, just a little bit. With all that good thinking done, we are just about ready to start writing. And we're going to do that paragraph by paragraph, sentence by sentence. The first paragraph is going to introduce the book and tell the hero's journey very generically. You shouldn't have more than 50 words. You're going to take the first act and the second act and the third act and mention it really short. Don't even mention Percy Jackson yet. The second paragraph is going to tell about the second act only. And this is where you're going to mention Percy Jackson a bunch and use the textual evidence. You're going to go into some pretty good detail here. This is the bulk of your grade. The third paragraph is going to focus on the supreme task, like why it was so difficult or why it was so important or what it's symbolic of. And then the fourth paragraph is going to tell your thoughts. This is kind of the meat of it. This is why you're writing it. I want to know your thoughts. I mean, I already read the book. I already know what happens. Don't tell me what happens. Don't waste your time telling me what happens. Okay, I already know. I want to know how you think what happens fits into the hero's journey, and I want to know your thoughts about it. So you can explore the idea of theme, but you're just suggesting at this point. This is not an assignment on theme, but just give me a little idea. I want you to add some details about the parallels or connections you made or other original thoughts that you have. So let's go. First paragraph. Before you start writing any paragraph, you need to hook in the reader with something kind of interesting. But you still need to orient to them to what you're talking about. So you need a few sentences to introduce the book and the character. You can include the title of the book, always underline the title of the book, the author's name, a quick short summary of the book, and then why you think this book is valuable to read. Then you're going to tell one sentence about Act 1. Then you're going to tell one sentence about Act 2. And then you're going to tell one sentence about Act 3. You notice a pattern here? And then you're going to transition to the next paragraph. This is all very short and quick and brief. You should only say Percy like one time. Don't mention Annabeth. Don't mention Grover. This is all the hero's journey generically. So this is a good example of a good first paragraph. Read this silently to yourself. So this is a pretty good start. But let's look at that sentence by sentence. I start off with a question to hook in my reader. And then I orient them to what I'm talking about. And then I mention Percy Jackson just a little bit. And I say, the hero's journey first act. See, I don't even mention Percy there. The second act of a hero's journey. The last act of a hero's journey. That's it. So maybe you're going to pause the video here and to make sure you have all these things in your first paragraph. That's fine. Go ahead and do that. Pause the video if you want to. But I'm going to go on. Again, before you start any paragraph, but you got to transition. Once you have a transition, you can say, to begin, to summarize, it's important to know. Then I want you to describe Percy's first trial. Tell me what he gained from that trial and quote the text and give a page number. Now, whenever you quote a text, whenever you quote something, I need you to say why that quote is important. Because otherwise you're just randomly copying the book. Makes no sense. Tell me why that thing that you wrote down, that thing you copied, has to be there. So these are 4 sentences. 1, 2, 2A, 2B. That's 4 different sentences about the first trial. And then you're going to repeat that pattern for the second trial. Tell me his second trial. Tell me what Percy got from the second trial. And then quote the text again and tell me a page number. Copy one sentence right from the book. And this is where your journal comes in handy. You wrote it in your journal. And then finally, you're going to give a sentence why you use that quote. This quote shows that. This quote is proof that. Right? Something like that. And then you're going to have another sentence to describe the supreme task. And then like maybe just one or two sentences why that supreme task was so hard. So your second paragraph should have at least 10 sentences. And maybe your paragraph 2 is going to sound a little bit like mine. Okay, you're going to start with a transition. I'm going to start with to begin. So here we go. To begin, as Percy moves into the new world in Act 2, he must face some minor tasks before facing the ultimate task. The first trial is when, well, I don't know. You got to decide that. Some kids say that when he faced Medusa in Medusa's lair and decapitated her, that was the first trial. But other kids have read this book. They disagree with me. They think when he fought the Minotaur and then his mom disappeared, whatever, they think that was the first trial. Because then he started to realize, oh, I'm a hero, actually did something heroic. So you have to figure out which one is the first trial. I know it's a trial and a test because he gained something from it. Maybe he gained skills or knowledge or whatever. And then you put the page number. So look at the orange sentence there. According to page, and pull that right from what you wrote in your journal. This is important because that's your sentence of elaboration. There was a second task when Percy, went to the Lotus Hotel and Casino. In this case, he gained, didn't he get money there? I think he got like gold coins or something, or cash, or what? He got something from the casino. And he used it later on. And then you need to quote the task. So this shows that, what did he learn from the Lotus Hotel and Casino? What did he learn? That he can resist temptation or something? I don't know. So use this sentence structure right here. If you want to pause the video again here, this is another good spot to pause because you can pull these sentences and use it to guide your own writing. So let's get into paragraph 3. We're going to use another transition word. And we're going to give a quick sentence to summarize the supreme task. Like I said, I read the book. I know what the supreme task is, right? I know everything that happened in the book. But I want to know what you think about the supreme task. So just tell me the supreme task was when he got the master bolt. But I want to know why you think it was so difficult. So give me one sentence why you think it's so difficult. And tell me a little lesson about how Percy overcame that difficulty. Was it difficult because there was deceitful people around him? In which case you would say, Percy learned to find the truth in the deceit. Ooh, that's good. But maybe you think the supreme task was so difficult because there was a lot of dangerous things and he was weak, right? He didn't know how to fight yet. So maybe you can say the supreme task was so difficult because Percy was weak. He overcame this weakness by digging deep, right? I don't know. You got to tell me your thoughts. Don't tell me my thoughts. I don't know what I think. And then your fourth sentence should be tickling in the theme of the narrative. Do you think the theme is deceit? Do you think the theme is sticking by your family? You think the theme is loyalty? Just give a little sentence, but at least one piece of textual evidence to back up your ideas for the theme. And then tell why that quote's important. Okay, are you with me so far? If you want to pause here and write all this stuff, that's fine. But I got a good example I want you to look at first. A good example of a third paragraph looks like this. Pick one of these transitions. I'm going to start with unfortunately. I like that one. Unfortunately, when Percy faces the supreme task, we know the hero's story is almost over. Percy must, what? You got to summarize what he must do. This is very difficult because, thus showing the theme of, you tell me what theme, any one of these themes will work good if you could prove it. And you're going to prove it with textual evidence. On page 482, on page 67, it was written, and you copy that sentence right from the book, okay? And then you give one sentence of elaboration. Therefore, the second act teaches us readers that. I don't know, you tell me. Okay, so here is an honest to goodness completed third paragraph. Here is my thoughts. Are you ready? Read this to yourself on your marks. Get set. Read. But that's not all. That's not it. I'm going to give you another example because maybe you don't think it's deceit, okay? Read this one, same format, same structure, different example. Ready? On your marks, get set. Read this to yourself. Go. All right, you ready for the end? We're just about to the end. You know you got to use a transition when you transition to the new paragraph. I want you to predict now what will happen when the hero comes home. I want another sentence where you predict the theme of the story again. I know you said it before. I want you to say it again. That's what you got to do when you're writing your thoughts. You got to repeat yourself many, many times. And then this is the kicker here. Make connections to other stories or to life or other heroes' journeys. Making an observation that you think no one else did. Make this worth my time. I want to know what's going on inside your brain. Write it in this paragraph. Like this. Here's my fourth paragraph. Are you ready? Okay, that's pretty cool, right? Pretty cool. You're just about done. But to conclude this video, your 4 paragraphs should follow the structure. The first paragraph should introduce the book and tell what a hero's journey is. The second paragraph is going to tell about the second act. Go into a lot of detail in this paragraph and use 3 pieces of textual evidence throughout the whole writing. If you listed 3 page numbers or 3 timestamps, you're good to go. If you mentioned words like Act 2, Supreme Task, Threshold, Ally, Journey, Hero, any of those words means you probably got an A+. If you just told me what happened in the story, you wasted my time. I know what happens in the story. I want to know how you think it fits to the hero's journey. The third paragraph should be focusing on the supreme task. The fourth paragraph is what's coming out of your brain. This is not Rick Riordan. This is you. Tell me your thoughts, your predictions. Explore the idea of theme just a little bit, just tickling it, right? And before you turn anything into your teacher, you got to edit it. Reread your own rough draft yourself like a day. Don't read it right away. Don't finish it and edit it. Your brain is tired. Take a break, put it away, and then tomorrow go reread it. It should sound like you, but a smarter version of you. It should make sense. Every sentence should make sense. Read it out loud. Every successful writer I know rearranges sentences so they sound better. Please check your grammar, check your punctuation, check your formatting. And you know what? Even have somebody else read it for you. All these ways help you edit it before you turn it in so you can guarantee that you get an A+. All right, so that is the end of my fabulous video. And I'm betting you're going to have to watch this video 3 or 4 times because you know what? You are an A+ kind of kid, aren't you? You go get that A+.